Tesla stock was up 3% today, even as the markets declined, and I do believe we are getting closer to seeing a much larger rally. As Ron Barron said earlier today, the bottom is in for Tesla stock, and when asked what Tesla stock's gonna do next, well, Ron Barron said, go much higher, and I think that is likely correct. I will discuss my ultra kind of near-term expectation where I expect Tesla will go here over the next couple of weeks, but also into 2025, because I think that's where you could see some exponential gains, and I think we need to talk about that as well, because I think most of you guys plan to hold your Tesla stock well into 2025, if not 2026 and beyond. So we're going to get into all of this information. I would love your opinions down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Let's start off this video with Tesla stock. The fact it's up over 3% today, even as the markets declined into the end of the trading day, you actually seen Tesla stock accelerate to the upside. Now, what you've seen in 2024 so far has been your big tech has went up and Tesla's went down. Now you're seeing Tesla going up and big tech going down. That's quite interesting and a bit of a flip-flop, because if you can imagine, expectations for big tech are through the roof. Expectations for Tesla were in the floor, on the ground, basically. And what's happened is Tesla has flipped the narrative around itself, saying, hey, the Model 2 is not canceled. It's actually coming faster than you expect. And that was seen as huge news. That's huge news, because this earnings call would have been the earnings call where maybe if it was another disaster, you would need to see a re-rating in Tesla, and you would see price targets fall a lot. You would see analysts downgrade Tesla, because if Tesla canceled the Model 2 for an extended period of time and focused all in on the robotaxi, sure, that's great for the long-term future of Tesla, but here over the next couple of years, that could have created a growth void. And for Tesla stock trading at growth stock multiples, that is unacceptable, okay? That did not happen. Confirmed. There will be no huge gap of growth for many years. In fact, growth probably accelerates from here compared to prior quarters. And yes, I know that's a pretty contrarian thing to say, but take a look at Google Trends data. If Google Trends data is any indication of what demand for Teslas look like, well, demand is starting to explode. Take a look at the Cybertruck, recently hitting a high of 62, currently at 61, so a little bit off of the highs there, but still overall very strong search trend activity. The Model 3 and the Model Y as well, recently starting to jump a lot, as well as the Model S and the Model X. When the Model S and the Model X jump, that's telling you something. Like, hey, you're starting to get some real trend activity for Tesla. Now, I have shared 4 or 5 different memes with the Discord, with the trading community. If you guys would like to join that, check out the link down below in the description of this video. But different memes about the Cybertruck, most of which being negative, people ragging on the Cybertruck, but it's definitely creating conversation around the Cybertruck and around Teslas and around EVs, in which you can't argue that that is unequivocally positive for Tesla. Now, you're also seeing celebrities getting the Cybertruck left and right. Cybertrucks becoming very popular in the NBA. That's obviously for a reason, right? The expedited deliveries so they can go post about it. You have Kim Kardashian, you have Justin Bieber, you have Jay-Z, you have all of these different individuals that have huge following bases. And Wall Street's kind of looking past that, saying that's not going to boost demand at all for Teslas in 2024. I'm saying it's probably starting now. And I think you could have an upside surprise for deliveries. Elon Musk said he expects higher deliveries this year than last year, and I don't think that was most analysts' base case assumption heading into yesterday. So not only did this, I guess what analysts were fearing, this growth pause, right? This lack of growth for years, that didn't happen. You also see delivery expectations super low, likely to, prove to be too low. That's also a positive. Now, The biggest negative we have is Tesla's all of their spending right now. Tesla's spending a lot of money. They're investing into the business. That's great. And I think Wall Street's starting to look past that a little bit. And they're starting to maybe give Tesla the benefit of the doubt. Like, hey, they're still giving us the Model 2 earlier than we expect. They're going to be spending some money. That's going to be a hit to near-term profitability. But I think investors are looking past near-term profitability. They're looking towards the end of this year and to 2025 when the next gen vehicle will be coming out. The $25,000 vehicle dubbed the Model 2. And Tesla gave us a lot of good news as well on that front. Tesla says basically they're not even going to have to create new manufacturing lines. They can just run the Model 2 on the lines that they have now, tweak some things, and boom, they should be good to go by the end of this year, if not the beginning of 2025 instead of the end of 2025. Even Gary Black expected the next gen Model 2 to come more like early 2026. And now we're talking about the end of 2024. Yeah, that I think that would make sense for Tesla's stock to rally in spite of those expectations being proven very, very wrong. But Tesla is one of those stocks where at any time you could get bad news. So keep that in mind. There could be bad news anytime. And I'm expecting some further pricing adjustments, as Elon Musk says. It's basically just pricing adjustments when they raise or lower prices, and you should expect that. So at some point down the line, that will happen. That will derail Tesla stock again for a period of time. But I think you are getting pretty close to seeing a huge rally. Some kind of short squeeze could be in the playbook here soon for Tesla stock. And let me explain exactly why that is. So over here on Ortex, might make me log back in again. Yeah, it makes me log back in. Over on Ortex, you have record high short positions in Tesla, or at least multi-year record high short positions in Tesla. Now, a lot of hedge funds and institutions use the 3-day rule. So what that means is after earnings, 3 days after earnings, if you want to buy the stock, you wait 3 days. If you want to sell the stock, you wait 3 days. If you want to cover on a short position, you wait 3 days. Now, I think it's clear some shorts started to cover on short positions today. If you just take a look at the raw numbers here, you have return shares of 1.62 million, borrowed shares of 612,000. So it looks like about 1 million shares potentially were covered today. And look at the rise that you were seeing in Tesla stock, over 3.5%. And you still have 106.45 million shares that are currently needing to be closed out of. And you're still sitting with $17.26 billion in short positions. You've only seen about 1 million shares actually get covered today, and Tesla's stock is up over 3%. I mean, I don't know what else really needs to be said besides that. There are other factors that could lead to Tesla stock also doing better, just if the market dynamic starts to change. What I mean by that is you went from pricing in 6 rate cuts to pricing in now 1 rate cut. If you do start to get more rate cuts get priced back into the markets, that could really start to benefit Tesla. Now, you can see even on the day today, your 10-year treasury yield was up 5 basis points to a new high in 2024 at 4.70%. You're almost at 5% on your 10-year treasury. If 10-year treasury yields fall from here, get a little bit of a reset back down, that could also prove to be as well a short-term or maybe medium-term positive for Tesla. Now, you can see here on the Fed rate monitor tool that there is a 19% chance of no cuts in 2024. There's a 38.9% chance of 1 cut and a 29.8% chance of 2 rate cuts. And what's actually very interesting about today is you had data come in that shows the economy is slowing down. The GDP growth rate quarter over quarter advanced data for Q1 came in at 1.6%. The estimate was 2.5%. That was 1% lower, well, 0.9% lower than the estimate on Wall Street. That's, not as strong of an economy as we thought. The problem was with GDP price index This came in at 3.1%. The estimate was 3%. You had core PC prices quarter over quarter coming in at 3.7%. The estimate was 3.4%. Yeah, that's a problem. Last quarter in Q4, you were at 2%. So now you're at 3.7% for core PC prices quarter over quarter. Not great. GDP sales quarter over quarter also went down a lot more than expected, coming in at 2%. The estimate was 3.1%. PCE prices quarter over quarter coming in at 3.4%. The estimate was 2.9%. Last quarter was 1.8%. Wow. Last quarter was 1.8%. This quarter, 3.4%. That's insane. Okay, that's a big jump. So what you actually seen today was GDP numbers that came in weaker than expected, but your inflationary readings coming in higher than expected. So in theory, that was actually, what we seen today was pretty stagflationary data, which kind of scares markets, at least bond investors. There was a sell-off in bonds today, thus 10-year treasury yields going higher, meaning that investors, well, they're more fearful about inflation right now than the path of the economy, even though GDP came in almost 1% lower than expected. Now, at what moment do I think shorts actually start to cover on short positions? Well, now the technicals look very good. You're above your 20-day moving average. Your RSI is back to a neutral level of about 52. You do see Tesla stock filling the gap that you've seen back here on April 15th. I think from all of those metrics, things look very well. And then when you just think about things quite logically, a lot of retail investors sold out. A lot of big money sold out. You have this massive short position, and Tesla stock just blew away everyone's expectations for better, right? That combination is begging for a short squeeze. Now, you might say Tesla stock's only 4% sold short. You can't get a short squeeze there. It matters about the size of the short position. How many shorts are actually short and what the news is, right? Tesla to have 20% short interest is unrealistic. Tesla can squeeze with, any short interest because Tesla's such a large company. It really matters the dollar amount here that is sold short. And over the past 2 days now, short sellers have lost over $2 billion. And if it looks like they're going to keep losing money, then they start to cover on short positions. Now, I think this time could be a little bit more extreme to the upside. If 10-year treasury yields start to fall, if the Fed is still dovish coming on May 1st, I believe that will be, next week? Yeah, next Wednesday. If the Fed's still dovish, 10-year treasury yields fall, and you just continue to have this buy the dip narrative and Tesla following their earnings, I can make an argument for a quite the violent short squeeze to the upside. And I think a lot of people forget Tesla can move up, right? Tesla used to be the destroyer of shorts. Like if you were betting against Tesla, there has been firms that have went bankrupt, BK out of business by shorting Tesla stock. And I think right now the odds are definitely skewed in the bulls' favor. So to the upside, I do believe if you get above that 50-day moving average, things start to look really good. If you get above that 188 level, things look better. If you can get back to $200, one could argue that's a kind of mini short squeeze in and of itself. But I think Tesla stock could even run to this 200-day moving average up to about $222 or so. And I believe that for all of the reasons that I have mentioned. Now, again, it's also important to consider as you get closer to 2025, the markets are going to know the comparisons for, on a year-over-year basis for 2025 earnings are going to be a lot easier when you're comparing to a bad year like 2024. So things are going to look really good in 2025. And Wall Street likes to price those things in ahead of time. And now that we know the Model 2 is coming, likely by the end of this year, if not the beginning of 2025, things look really good. So I think in some kind of near-term event, Tesla stock can go into the 200s. I would not count that out for Tesla at this current moment in time. Getting all the way back up to $220, $225 per share. I think breaking above the 200-day moving average is going to be a little bit more difficult. I do think above $200, it becomes a little bit harder to, I don't want to say justify, because people justify things for all different kinds of reasons. But for the average short to cover on their short position above $200, I think that becomes harder to justify. Right? Because it's not like Tesla's near-term profitability is getting that much better, or they just did a buyback or anything like that. So even though Elon did hint towards a possible buyback coming down the line if Tesla does manage to become more profitable, nonetheless, I do think quite a large rally is still coming. Now, on a percentage basis, this would be, if you got up to about $220, $225 per share, that would be a rally of about 33%. You would still be negative on your year-to-date so far for Tesla. So that wouldn't even be going positive again on the year-to-date. Now, if Tesla can get back to $200 per share, that would be a rally of about 19% from here. I don't think these things are too unrealistic, but I know some people down below in the comment section, they're going to say, no way can Tesla move that much. And in the grand scope of things, it's really not that much. It's not that much historically for Tesla to move 19 or even 30 some percent. Just recently in 2024, the first, almost 5 months of the year, you haven't seen that. You haven't seen Tesla do well. And it's starting to. And I think something drastically just changed. And I don't want you guys to miss out on it. That's essentially the point of this video. I think a lot of people are going to miss out on the pivot, the change that Tesla just made. And that's important. Just like Meta, back in 2022, when they said 2023 was going to be the year of efficiency. And totally, I would say Mark Zuckerberg went into war mode to make that happen and to communicate things to shareholders in the right way. And there's so many different things that go into it. But it seems like Elon and the Tesla team have just gotten to that point. They've just gotten to that point. And I think in the short term, better things are to come. Now, towards the end of this year, that's where things get really juicy. If we do start to get rate cuts, if you do see the economy continuing to hold up, that's where I think Tesla can really start to do well as investors start to price in 2025 and the easier earnings comps that we will see in 2025. Like, you could be looking at hundreds of percents of EPS growth on a year-over-year basis in 2025. If we just did 45 cents of EPS for Q2 2024, or Q1 2024, Q1 2025 could come in a lot higher than that. Double that would be 90 cents. You could come in over $1 of EPS for Q1 2025. And then you're looking at hundreds of percents growth for, on a year-over-year basis. So I think by the end of this year, that's where things get very interesting. Now, if you take a look at Ortex and the option activity that you are seeing today, give this a little bit of a gander. You are seeing a lot of activity around that $300 call expiring by the end of this year. Now let's scroll all the way to the top here. You can see a lot of option activity overall today, but a lot of it is targeting that $300 call. Let's see. I think there's an easier way to kind of to share all this. And there's a lot of short-term speculation, a lot of these options expiring tomorrow, lots of calls expiring tomorrow. That'll probably get closed out today. It's like super laggy. I shared some of the trades in the last video. I believe I can filter it by strike. Okay. Let's see. All right. So here you have a $510 call for $100,000. This is expiring January 16th, 2026. You have another January 16th, 2026 $500 call as well for $72,000. You have a June 18th, 2026 $490 call for $132,000. A June 18th, 2026 $490 call for $132,000. A June 18th 470 call for $244,000, a June 18th 420 call for $310,000. And then here we have it today. You have a June 18th 370 call for 2026, $845,000. A June 18th 2026 360 call for $476,000. A June 18, 2026, 360 call for $400,000. There is a ton of these trades today. Take a look at some of these, though. A January 17, 2025, 350 call for $30,000. A June 20th, 2025, 350 call for $105,000. And literally the list just goes on and on and on. Take a look at this one. A March 21st, 2025, $400 call for $1.64 million. That is in Q1 of 2025. Expecting Tesla stock could be over $400 per share, and they are putting $1.64 million on that trade alone. Lots of other 2026 options as well coming through. More 2025s. All of them are $300-$400 strikes. See, now Tesla's stock is up about 5% today. Even as I'm recording this video, it seems like shorts are getting further squeezed and squeezed and squeezed out of their short positions. Look at the ticker here. Look at the volatility. Look at the volume coming in for Tesla stock. It's incredible, and I do think a larger upside is awaiting us. And that's why it pays to buy the dip in quality companies. Now, you do have some data coming out tomorrow that will make things very interesting. You have core PC price index month over month. You're expecting that at 0.3%. Last month was also 0.3%, so expecting no change there. Personal income month over month is expected to rise from 0.3% last month to 0.5%. And personal spending is expected to fall from 0.8% to 0.6%. So core PC is likely what is going to give us the bigger move, but personal spending, that's important for the state of the economy. Personal income, that's important because that's an input cost to companies. If companies are seeing their input costs rising, their labor costs rising, commodity prices rising, whatever it is, they do tend to raise prices over time. Right. So you do want to see things kind of come in line with the estimates. You don't want to see things come in worse. Now, if core PCE comes in at 0.2%, it's going to be off to the races for the markets, especially the small caps. If it comes in at 0.1%, that's going to be like, holy crap, blow your mind, because nobody's expecting that. Literally, there's not one expectation for that. But it's possible that could happen. Now, if you come in higher than 0.3%, like 0.4%, 0.5%, that would solidify maybe the Fed needs to start thinking about raising rates again. And that would be very problematic. Now, we need to see the breakdown of PCE, and there's different things that people will point to and say, hey, that's just, take this out and it would be that number, right? The markets kind of try to justify some of these high numbers. I honestly think maybe you come in lower than expected. Maybe you come in at 0.2%. I don't think it's going to be a huge drop, but I do think it's possible you come in lower, and that could also be a big benefit for Tesla coming tomorrow, and also help to drop those 10-year treasury yields that just seemingly continue to rise. Now, I do think things in 2025 start to look a lot better. And if we're thinking about the longer term of Tesla, that's where I think Tesla gets back to all-time highs, is 2025. Now, I thought 2024 could be a really good year as well. We were expecting 6 cuts. We were expecting a strong economy and all of this disinflation. Well, a solid 4 months into the year, and that doesn't look like the case. In fact, the opposite. And there's going to be some, I guess, political pressure to start reducing rates this year, and whether or not the economy does start to get a little bit worse and the Fed does start to cut more heading into 2025, I'm not sure. That's kind of up for debate. But by 2025, especially by the end of the year, you're going to have the next gen vehicle rolling out. You're going to have the Cybertruck production, ramping out a lot more. And by then you should definitely have the halo effect. Mix that with a much easier year-over-year comp for earnings, and maybe a lot closer to the Robotaxi network if we're expecting the announcement and prototypes on August 8th. Imagine a year after August. Talk about August 2025. You could actually be launching the Robotaxi network by then. That's definitely a possibility as well. So for all of those reasons, I don't think they all have to come true, but Tesla stock will likely be reaching all-time highs. By 2025 as well, some of the AI CapEx, some of the CapEx overall should be starting to fall a little bit. At that point, Tesla may be able to, invest into the business at a much more, I don't want to say gradual pace, but much more consistent pace, right? Elon's looking to go from 35,000 H100s to 85,000 by the end of this year. That's a lot of money, okay? Just in AI training compute. And I think some of that might start to slow down in 2025. So I do think profitability gets better in 2025. And I do think for all of those reasons, that's when Tesla stock hits a new all-time high. But I do think by the end of this year, you're probably going to be close to that $300 level, if not higher, as the markets look forward to 2025. And this would be like an end of the year kind of situation. I think Q3, Q4 could be pretty exciting for Tesla stock. So let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. What is your opinions, your targets, your estimates down below in the comment section? Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you guys want to come trade with us live as well in real time. Every time I make a trade, I do send out alerts. Check that out, link down below in the description of this video. We did hit the Tesla calls right on the head, made that was like a 5-bagger. Who knows? We win some, we lose some. We try to win more than we lose. When we do win, we tend to hit big ones. So if you guys want to come trade with us, check out that link down below in the description of this video. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.